We're getting you laughing on the,
Good, good.
yes.
Any help I can get, I'll be fine when this is over. Unfortunately, for those of you that were here for our original performance by Dr. Crumbless, she was called away last evening in an emergency. Michelle will tell us a little more about it, but her husband was in an accident. Although he's fine, I mean, he isn't fine, he's in the hospital, and she was going to pick him up, and so she had to cancel. So guess who gets to perform? Your legally blind librarian. You must be the only people in the world that has a legally blind librarian.
You do know that's an oxymoron.
Well, I've spent my whole life being an oxymoron, I realize. So, I'm hoping that this will be much more participatory, because we need your help for those people that have something different from what I have. I can tell you a little about low vision for macular degeneration. That's what I have. I was diagnosed probably 20 years ago in Cincinnati, and was given shots after about the first 10 years of being there. I had shots in my eye every few months, and once you get past the first time with that needle coming at you, you start to relax a little and realize indeed it will clear up, and it will help for a while, and then you do it again later on, and it's amazing. You know, sometimes it's like walking to your own funeral, but you know, that's the way it is. Macular degeneration, as you probably know, is probably the most common reason for low vision among people older than us. They lose the sharpness that comes. I remember Dr. Crumbless used to, when she explained your eye, said, you know, the eyeball is just the camera. It just takes the picture, it focuses on what you want to see, and then the image is sent back to through the optic nerve to the serious part, which is in the back of your head, or in the back of your eye, but not close. So there is this cord that is attached to the eyeball that takes it back for interpretation, and that is vulnerable to many kinds of things. For instance, tumors, you know, other things, pressures. Often if you hit your head or something and have a jolt, it could affect the optic nerve. So that is the danger of vision as we age. And so macular degeneration comes in two forms. You know, it's kind of like the large and extra large. This is called wet and dry. Aren't those awful names? The wet one is the one that is providing blood behind the eye. That is the one that can be treated with a shot. And the shot will prolong your vision for as long as there is blood to dry up. The dry macular degeneration, unfortunately, has no treatment. So, but with both, we are assured that we will not go totally blind. So isn't that a good piece of information on a bright sunny day like this? But it is helpful. It does allow you to make a plan for how you're going to live. Who has glaucoma here? All right, Nance, yeah, and here's one. Can either of you explain glaucoma? I know it's a numbers game, that it can be a high number that you're concerned about or a low number, but do you know what happens in your eye? Has it ever been explained? No. Nope. Nance? Nope. Oh dear. Well,
Pressure changes.
yes. Pressure, the pressure on your eye. You know, every time they test you, they put a little machine up to your eye to test the pressure. And but sometimes it's a low number that is dangerous, not for the same people that have a high number, but cataracts, of course, but that's something that can be removed and given you some help. The low vision people at the Lighthouse have been wonderful to help. Dr. Crumless, for those of you that heard her speak the last time she was here, and she, by the way, was very apologetic that her husband got into some kind of, you know, like,
Her fault.
yeah, nobody's fault. But she hopes that she will be invited back soon. She would love to come back. She thoroughly enjoyed the group that she met last time and would like to continue an association with us. And I think that's wonderful. And I think she's a wonderful teacher. Explains very clearly what and how your eye works and how you can help yourself. One of the things she's done is to send us Michelle Fiocchi here, who is her, are you just the general assistant?
So I am the manager of retail and rehabilitation services at the Chicago Lighthouse. So I work very closely with Dr. Crumless. She is my boss, so if she comes back, tell her you liked me.
And Michelle will give us some solutions for helping ourselves with the condition that we find ourselves in with low vision for whatever reason. She's brought a whole raft of toys, but things that we might be interested in.
I followed up on doctor's visit last time, and you know, went to the Illinois and got the letter and said, yes, you qualify. I don't know what to do next. So it's wondered really.
I can speak to that, yeah.
Yep, they take you further and tell me how to order books. That would be helpful.
Oh,
Sandy.
that's what I'm going to talk about right now, because
Here's
there are two things in this world I cannot live without. The first is was purchased from the Lighthouse when I arrived here 5 years ago, and well, of course, I didn't bring a piece of
I'll demo
paper.
those for you.
Can I borrow your piece of paper? Thank you.
Oh, wow.
And what is so wonderful is it's not word by word.
Left it.
Oh, it is. And you can zip it up. You can do color depending on how you see things. Most of the time it's black and white. That's for me because I can't see it with pink and pastel colors. Well, unfortunately, they're not free. When I bought this, it was $1,000. But I use it 50 times a day, I'm sure. It's the only thing that allows me to read all those things that they stick on our doors.
How much are they today?
Pardon me?
How much are they today?
Can you answer that?
Yes, I'm going to be speaking about a lot of the assistive technology, their price ranges, what they do, all of that sort of thing. So I will get into that. for
Okay,
you.
thank you.
She'll be up in about 2 minutes.
Sandy?
But, pardon me.
Sorry to bother you.
Yeah,
Use the mic because we can't pick you up on that.
do what?
The mic.
Oh, I need another arm, Phil.
I'm sorry. You want me to come and hold it for you?
That magnifier is absolutely life enhancing. The other thing that I wanted to tell you about was talking books. When I first arrived here, I had used talking books for 10 years at least. This is my original player. As you see, it's very simple. There's a red button to start and to stop. There's a volume. There's a forward and backward. There's even a little moon for sleeping, letting it go to sleep with you and turn itself off. That's about it, besides tone, sound, those kinds of things. The method of finding a book has improved immensely since the time that I started. My books were one at a time. I would call in to the Springfield Library and tell them the books I wanted. They will also just pick the ones. They'll ask for the kind of things you like to read or listen to, and they will give you choices. Or they will pick 5 and send them to you. Now, one of these discs will hold 10 books. Can you believe that? It comes.
What do you play it on, that machine? The same machine, the big machine?
Yes. You stick it in the bottom, and you press the button.
Volume up. Time remaining 1 hour 4 minutes. Battery charge remaining 7 hours.
That's it. That's all you do, and enjoy it. You also have a place for earphones if you want to listen to it privately. Yeah.
Can you connect it to your hearing aid?
Those ones, you do not. But you can plug in headphones so you can have it direct in your ear. Unfortunately, those players are not Bluetooth connected.
With help.
Thank you. I would have not known. I don't know about that. Any other question? Yeah.
Dear friends of childhood.
No.
Turn it off now.
Classmates.
Nancy.
One wonderful thing I found by order of
full price.
Slide the disc player
Only
off.
I get approved by that offer.
Yes. They will keep a list of everything you order. They will tell you if you've already read it because they take care of their older customers. They put it in the mail and it arrives 2 or 3 days later. And when you're finished, which takes quite a while to listen to 10 books, you put it back into the container and put it to the concierge, and they'll put it in the mail. And that's all there is. No charge. No charge. So it's safe to try even some books that you've never heard of or think you might like. My philosophy, especially with this, is to listen for an hour and a half, and if I don't like it, I jump to the next one. And I think unless somebody else has a question about talking, we have applications here and papers with the library. My library cohorts that help keep the library straight are here at the end of the program. If you're interested, you can pick up an application and we'll fill it out and send it on. Any questions? All right, now I'll let the hard work start. Michelle Fiocchi has worked at the Lighthouse for 8 years.
That's correct.
And still there, so she must like it. I'm sure it's a pleasure to help people when they're so needy sometimes coming in. She will talk about some of the aids that are going to help for people with low vision.
Thank you. So again, I apologize, Dr. Crumbliss couldn't come today. Yes, her husband was in an accident, does need some surgery and things, but he's doing well, everything's good. So, but I was planning on coming with Dr. Crumbliss as well, so you were gonna get me no matter what. I'll just be taking over a little bit. And Dr. Crumbliss will hopefully be coming back on another date to discuss more of the medical side of the low vision clinic. I'm going to give you kind of the overview of the Chicago Lighthouse in general, what types of service we have, and then also go into our assistive technology and retail operations, which is what I would say the majority of people want to learn. So I have been working at the Chicago Lighthouse for 8 years. I did start at our Glenview location. We do have 2 major locations, our Glenview and Chicago. Chicago is in the medical district downtown, sort of by Rush and UIC. And our doctors do also travel to various satellite clinics throughout Illinois and northern Indiana. So if you have family or friends and you might also benefit from services, know that they do travel a little bit farther than just Chicago and Glenview. So the Chicago Lighthouse was established in 1906, so we'll be coming up on almost 120 years in a couple years. We have over 35 different programs at the Chicago Lighthouse. We like to say anywhere from birth all the way up to seniors. So we do have a school, we do have employment services, we have an industries program that makes and still manufactures clocks, where the majority of our employees in that industry are blind and visually impaired. So any sort of clock, if you ever go into a government building, has actually been made and manufactured at our Chicago location. And we do make custom clocks, so if you want to ever have a custom clock made, whether it's putting your own face on it or putting something funny or family crest, we can custom make clocks for you as well. We primarily do have our sort of flagship program that I like to call is our low vision clinic, and that's where Dr. Crumbliss is the president or vice president of.
Our low vision clinic consists of a comprehensive team of low vision optometrists, occupational therapists, psychologists, research, and then assistive technology and more. There are other programs that branch off from there as well. So we want to always sort of bring a person in and know that it's not just going to be a doctor visit when you come to the Chicago Lighthouse. We are coming to you, or you're coming to us, and we are trying to find you every type of service aid, whatever you want to expand upon and find might be useful to you. So most patients are referred by their ophthalmologist or retinologist, because most of you are probably under the care of a primary eye doctor. And what our doctors do different is that they are focusing on the functional vision that you have. You're already under the care that's taking care of the health, that's getting injections in your eyes and things like that. But that's slowing progression in a lot of cases. We are truly trying to find the devices and aids that with your current vision are going to assist you and make it more functional for you. Because a lot of the times you get to the doctor or an ophthalmologist, they're going to go, well, glasses, you know, we've sort of maxed out on glasses. They've done all they can. They're just going to maybe sharpen your vision a little bit, but not so much improve it beyond a certain point anymore. So our doctors are looking at the prescriptive devices and aids beyond just glasses that might assist in your vision, as well as refer you into other services. So our doctors might prescribe things like handheld magnifiers for you to use with your glasses. They might prescribe things that are called like binoculars, not bird watching binoculars, although in some cases those are still helpful. But things that might help you see the TV better, or things that might help you use your tablet or computer better. They are looking at those sorts of functional devices to pair along with your current glasses or aids that you're using right now. You may also get referred into other programs like occupational therapy, which I'm sure there's probably some occupational therapists on staff here. But ours are specialists specifically in low vision and blindness. So they, again, are focusing on how do we adapt your home for living with low vision? How do we adapt the way that you walk around or do specific tasks, whether it's knitting or using the microwave, or even just telling the difference between shampoo and conditioner, because the bottles look the same. So we want to create those different strategies and aids that you can work one-on-one with our occupational therapists. We do have orientation and mobility training as well. That's sort of learning to use a white cane to navigate the world. You've probably seen that around for users who are a bit more low vision. So that's dependent upon your skill level and how you want to navigate the world, if that's a program for you. And then we do also have psychology services as well, because one of the biggest things about low vision is it is a loss in our life. It's a dramatic loss, it's a dramatic change, it is a big adjustment. So we do want you to always have the support and the mental support to adjust to that. So we have a wonderful psychologist on staff as well that does both in person and over the phone. So if you aren't able to make it to our locations, he can still speak to you over the phone and do sessions that way. So the way that it sort of works is a lot of the times, as I said, you're going to be referred by your ophthalmologist, retinologist. You'll set up with the low vision clinic and they will do a assessment with you to find those devices and aids. And then they would also refer you into other departments. My department that I specifically work in is our retail and assistive technology. What assistive technology is similar to what our occupational therapists may recommend. Could be small items and things like adjustments, things like bump dots. These are tactile bumps that you can put on things like your microwave, your washing machine. So when you have a flat surface and you can't really see the buttons, having a raised button put on, say your easy minute button and your start button, you know you're always going to be hitting those buttons instead of trying to figure out all of those different things. You can put them again on your washing machine, just put it on your load that's most common, your remote, the power button, whatever it may be, just to give you a little bit of differentiation. We also sell things in our retail store like talking watches, talking clocks. So if the displays are getting hard to read, you can just press the button and it'll announce the time for you. We have lots of different aids. Everything comes in sort of large print with us. So whether it's a large print calendar to just give you bigger numbers to be able to see your calendar a little bit better, or bingo cards that are larger print, or playing cards that are larger print. Everything is about just it's sort of size and contrast that makes it easier to adjust with your current or deteriorating vision. If you kind of go to the next level after that, if prescriptive devices, things like handheld magnifiers, are great and they're still useful to a lot of people, but one thing to know about magnifiers is that as they get stronger, they do get smaller. And that can be tricky because if you're at high levels of magnification, you're looking at a magnifier that might only magnify a word at a time or a couple letters at a time, which can still be very useful, but a lot of people want to say, I want to be able to read a sentence, I want to be able to read, a page or something like that. And that's where we get referred into our assistive technology, because electronic devices and aids can offer you high levels of magnification on bigger screens. So, as was mentioned over here, our Explore 8, this device, it sits on top of whatever you're reading and then can provide magnification at varying levels. So it can go anywhere from 2x to 30x, which is about a letter again at a time on the screen. But an 8-inch screen, which is, you're never gonna get an 8-inch screen out of a magnifier, essentially. Because a lot of people do always, so their prices can range. Electronic magnifiers can range anywhere from $200 all the way up to $6,000, depending upon the unit. So they come in various sizes. That 8-inch there is kind of our middle ground unit. So that's a portable electronic magnifier. So you can take it from place to place, room to room, recharge it just like you would a tablet or a cell phone, and be able to go from there. They do also come in a little bit smaller with a 6-inch, and then they can go larger up to a 12-inch. These are still all in the portable range. And then there are truly large stationary units as well that can be the size of like a computer screen. Yes?
Yeah. How much of the cost of this is covered by Medicare or?
Good question. So the question was how much of the cost is covered by Medicare or insurance. So the clinical visit and everything for the doctors in our clinic, that is covered under your Medicare. There is a portion of the exam that's not covered called the refraction fee, and that's about $60 on average. So you can expect to pay that if you do have an appointment at the Chicago Lighthouse. But unfortunately, when it comes to devices, Medicare does not cover. Similar to hearing aids and things, for whatever reason, Medicare does not cover those devices and aids. So in most cases, these devices are paid out of pocket. We do have payment plans, layaway options, financing, and we do have some grants and things as well that might be possible to get some devices and aids too. Electronic magnification, as I said, kind of can vary depending upon your skill level. It can also vary depending upon your needs. If you do need higher levels of magnification, a lot of the times we are going to size you up on an electronic magnifier, get a little bit bigger screen so you can fit more on that screen. If magnification has pretty much done all it can, or you're not finding it enjoyable to read with high levels of magnification, we may look into auditory options. So similar to talking books, there are devices that can scan and read your documents out loud to you. As long as they're printed materials, things like the Orcam. or the Compact 10, which can actually provide you both magnification and auditory of reading your printed materials out. Now, unfortunately, there's not a ton of options that read handwriting. A lot of the times that's going to be more a cell phone app. So if you do have a smartphone, there are some apps that are able to read handwriting. But because of the diversity of handwriting, it's just very difficult technology to get devices to read that out. But any sort of printed materials, anything that's been mailed to you or put on your door, as you said, any leaflets, these types of devices can also scan and read those things out loud to you. And then the last sort of technology that's been gaining a lot of momentum is wearable technology. So electronic glasses, essentially, that these are more for distance-based goals, things like watching TV or going to a show or something like that. You can use them to read, but it is a learned skill with these types of electronic glasses, because essentially it's like using a pair of binoculars in these glasses, so you can adjust how much zoom level is on them. But because you're having magnification so close to your eyes, very small movements of your head look very large in the device, which is why reading can be a little bit difficult. But watching the TV might be a bit easier with a device like this. So there is a lot of different options and aids. And what we would do with assistive technology is, after you've seen the doctor, or if you want to just start with assistive technology, you're not required to see the clinic, though we do recommend that for the most comprehensive care. But if you did just want to see assistive technology, you can set up for an appointment specific to that. And you would meet with myself, Noreen, Patrick. We're all on staff at both of our locations. And then again, occasionally we do travel to our satellite locations to do technology demonstrations. So we're gonna work very close with the doctors. They may recommend, okay, this person has X, Y, and Z goal. So what type of device would you recommend? And then we'll work with you to make sure this technology is, one, useful to you in your vision, and one that you actually feel confident you're going to be using every single day and making it useful to you. So electronic technology can be very expensive, but the nice thing about it is that as your vision changes, the device changes with you. You can continue to zoom in. You can continue to enhance the color contrast to your liking. So even these sort of prescriptive devices and aids that the doctors do recommend, and will still be the gold standard in most cases, you're going to regularly, yearly be meeting with our doctors and kind of upping your prescription probably every year, just like glasses in a way. So long term, you're going to be buying a new device of a prescriptive level more often than you would an assistive or electronic technology. So if you think about the cost investment from that perspective, electronic technology can still be very useful investments for you. Now I do kind of want to leave this open-ended because it's hard to show technology to a group. I do like to have you actually interact with the devices and aids, just so you can get a sort of taste of what they're like. Cindy, if you would maybe assist, if you want to kind of show your device as well up close, some of the assistive technology and aids, so that we can sort of engage and see what you guys think of these devices. Does anyone have any questions, though, before we get kind of into some trying out some things? Yes?
Totally off this subject.
Mm-hmm.
If you're declared legally blind, if you're doing an eagle check, check that little box on page 2. You have to have proof.
That might be a requirement. So the question is, when you're doing your taxes and you are establishing that you are legally blind, you need the proof from your doctor. And that's actually probably a better question for an accountant to say. In most cases, a lot of the times the government doesn't necessarily always require proof of it. But if they do, you're going to be able to ask your doctor for a letter of legal visual impairment or blindness. Yes.
I'd like to remind you that Talking Books is not part of the Lighthouse program, although I'm sure
That's
they
correct.
appreciate it. But it is a state program run through the Secretary of State office. Everything is entirely free. There's no charge. The machine comes to you through the mail. The books come to you through the mail. You send them back. The mail, there is no mail charge. There's no, you must have it back in 30 days. You can keep it as long as you want. Excuse me. So I just wanted to make that clear that Talking Books is a different, it's not a program that's bought.
Yes, that's correct. Talking Books is its own separate entity. We recommend it very often for clients to use, especially as you're sort of getting used to auditory options too. That's always a good transition piece as your vision may be deteriorating, just to have that option and start enjoying it. So yes, it is its own separate entity through the state that we can help you sign up for. As you also said, that anyone, your local library, you do need a certifying authority on the sheet to sign off, but that can generally be your librarian or somebody that's just acknowledging that you do have visual impairment and need.
Sean can sign them. I can sign them. Your physician can sign them. Would the people that are going to help stand up so that people can identify if you would like them to help? That they're available, and they have the applications for Talking Books, and would be happy to help you fill them out or give them to you to fill out. Thanks.
One other thing, oh sorry, go ahead.
I have a question that never seems to touch. I find
Lighting. Yes.
lighting very irritating to my eyes. And I
Yes.
wonder, is that something the Lighthouse handles, which is
Yes, that's a very good question. So lighting is a big factor for many visual impairments as well as macular degeneration. Some people may need a lot of lighting, some people are more sensitive to lighting. So yeah, you might see people who are visually impaired to have very dim lighting in their homes if they're light sensitive. So that would actually be done through our occupational therapists at the Chicago Lighthouse. So yes, they can come into your home, they can assess your lighting. They can do, even if you don't do it specifically through the clinic, you can actually, it's privately paid if you want to do just a specific only lighting evaluation with our occupational therapist. If you don't want to go through everything else, again, I always recommend going through the low vision clinic and receiving the comprehensive care, because then that assessment may be covered under your insurance. But if you do, you can also privately pay to have a lighting assessment, find the right lighting levels and different shades of lighting, because a huge factor is not just brightness, but the hue of the lighting. So there are cooler hues and warmer hues to lighting that can be a big factor, as well as sunlight in general. Things that we do sell in our retail store are things called filters. They are essentially similar to sunglasses. They go on top of your existing glasses. They give you coverage on all sides. They're typically either polarized or non-polarized, and your doctor may explain why one might be better for you or not. If you are light sensitive to the sun, or even just general lights inside, you can still wear those filters. They have different shades and things that can cut down on that light and glare that you might be sensitive to.
would that be in your classes, the filter would be on?
Yeah, so the filters, those aren't technically prescriptive devices, so we do sell them in our retail store. If you did want to come to our Glenview location or our Chicago location, you're welcome to shop and try on those different filters and see which one feels best for you. Of course, if you do meet with our doctors, they may also weigh in on which one might be best for you as well. They can always make those recommendations. So yes, if you're light sensitive, that is definitely a great resource.
How many would like to consider taking a trip? We could make an appointment and load the bus up and go over to the Glenview or even to the downtown place to visit. You can make an appointment. We would not allow that, but you could go in and see some of the things that they have. Can anybody interested? Okay, we'll put it on the docket for maybe February, March, sometime after the big snows come or whatever. I also would like to tell you that I have those bubbles that she showed the very first thing all over my apartment.
Bum dots, yeah.
Because, for instance, on the stove, to find the start button and the stop button, my stove is too, the back of the stove is too far away. So you can use them any place to get the TV going on a remote or whatever. So think about it.
One other thing I just wanted to touch upon in our assistive technology as well, that's sort of an expanding field for us is, and I've kind of briefly mentioned it, is phone applications. So I know using a phone can be very difficult, especially if you have low vision, and now everything's a smartphone. So you sort of have to learn the complexities of those phones. We do private training sessions and seniors programs that teach you how to use your iPad or iPhone or Android-based electronic technologies. We can go into your phones, check its settings, make sure that things like your font sizes, your color contrast, the built-in magnifying aids and things are all enabled on your phone, because there are so many things in smartphones that most people don't know are even available to them in those phones. So if you ever are having difficulties with your phone due to your vision, I should be clear, we can assist with those assistive technologies. If it's just general things like setting up your voicemail or things like that, unfortunately, that's not our specialty. We can help with that, but we do focus primarily on the vision component of using your phone and devices and aids.
And any of these products that they have there, you are trained free of charge. I believe
That's correct.
It's still free of charge.
Yeah.
But it's a wonderful service that they show you actually sit down for an hour or two, and you actually use the equipment with them.
Yes, that's correct. We want you to be very successful with any device that you purchase through us. We don't want it to be something that you go, wow, that's really great, I love it, and then you throw it in the drawer and never use it. We want you to be working with us, and whether you buy it tomorrow and a year from now you want some touch-up training, or you buy it and just want one training session upon dispensing your device to you, that's great. Whatever you need, we want to be there for you, whether it's over the phone, in person, or at one of our locations. Any other questions or anything before we I'm gonna just bring some devices and aids around just to kind of show you guys what they're like to sort of play around with, or if you're welcome to come up and try some things out. I'll try to kind of make it a little interactive, because I know it talks fun and everything, but it's way more fun to play with the devices. So, of course, thank you.
Sure.